20 amazing money-saving tips to start using in 2025. Tip number 7 will change everything. Daily tips that actually work to end the year with a positive balance. If they made it this far, they're probably tired of feeling like their money disappears before they even realize it. It doesn't matter if their salary is high or low, the feeling is the same. Their pocket seems to have an invisible hole. The good news is that this hole can be closed with simple, practical actions that they can start today. Today's video won't give them magic formulas or unrealistic promises. It will provide 20 straightforward and proven ways to save money in 2025, without needing to become a radical minimalist or give up living well. And here's the secret. Saving money isn't just about putting coins in a jar or cutting out Starbucks coffee. It's about creating a healthy relationship with their money, understanding where it goes, identifying habits that drain their pocket, and replacing them with smart choices. That's what really works and what will give them results by the end of the year. Think about it. How many times have they promised to save, only to end up spending on something they couldn't even remember the next day? How many subscriptions do they have on their card that they no longer use? How many just this once has jeopardized their budget? The problem has never been just the amount spent, but the lack of awareness and strategy. And that's what we're going to change here. In the next few minutes, they'll discover how small decisions can add up to hundreds, or even thousands of dollars more in their account by the end of 2025. Each tip was designed to fit into their daily life, whether they're someone living from paycheck to paycheck, or someone who already has savings but wants to stop wasting money on nonsense. This video is for those who are tired of feeling like slaves to bills, for those who no longer want to live just waiting for the next paycheck, and especially for those who have decided that 2025 will be the year to turn the financial game around. You don't need luck, you need strategy. And here you will find exactly that. Now, take a deep breath and stay with me, because what comes next could be the turning point between another year repeating mistakes or finally starting to save and see their money grow. The first way to save money in 2025 is simple but powerful. Track every penny that comes in and out of your pocket. It seems obvious, but most people don't do this consistently. And here's the truth. You will never control what you can't measure. When you record your expenses, whether in an app, spreadsheet, or even in a notebook, magic happens. What once seemed like just a small expense starts to reveal itself as a pattern. Those $5 on breakfast, the hidden bank fees, the midweek delivery that seemed harmless, everything appears before you. Suddenly, what was invisible takes shape, and just by seeing clearly, a change in behavior begins to emerge. Think of it like when you decide to step on the scale after months without looking. It's not comfortable, but it's the starting point for any real transformation. Money works the same way. If you don't track it, you can't adjust it. And it's not about becoming an obsessed accountant. It's about creating awareness. Just by recording, you automatically start spending less, because the simple act of writing things down brings accountability. You start to ask yourself, is this really worth it or just impulse? This mental filter is the first step to saving money for real. The second way to save money in 2025 is to mercilessly cut off subscriptions that you no longer use. It may seem harmless to pay $10, $15, $20 a month for services that are forgotten on the card, but when you add it up at the end of the year, the bill is scary. Think about streaming platforms, gym apps, subscription boxes that arrive at your door, and even software that you don't even remember why you hired. Each of these charges may seem small individually, but together they may be draining hundreds of dollars a year. What you need to do is a personal audit. Open your bank statement or credit card and go through it. Ask yourself, do I really use this? Is it worth every dollar I'm paying? Does this subscription really improve my life, or is it just here because I forgot to cancel? And here's a practical trick. If in doubt, cancel it. Because if it's really essential, you'll realize quickly and can reactivate it. But 9 out of 10 times, you won't even remember it existed. This immediate cut frees up money that can be directed towards bigger goals, such as paying off debts, investing, or simply breathing without a burden in your pocket. Each cancelled subscription is a silent victory. It's one less leak in your budget and more room to spend on what really matters. And when you add up all these victories, the savings multiply in a way that surprises. The third way to save money in 2025 is to drastically reduce food delivery. Let's face it, the convenience of ordering something through the app is addictive. One click and ready, dinner arrives at your door. But this convenience comes at a high price. And it's not just in the price of the dish. It's the fees, the delivery, the tip, and that minimum order that you complete by buying something you didn't even want. In the end, a meal that would cost $15 at home can easily turn into $40 for delivery. Now multiply that by 4 or 5 times a week. You realize you're not paying for the food, but for the habit. The strategy here is not to completely cut off, but to turn delivery into a conscious luxury. Save it for special occasions like a family night or a day when there really isn't time to cook. On other days, use smart alternatives. Cook in larger quantities and save portions, or put together quick meal kits. This reduces the temptation to open the app and order. And here's the game-changing thought. If you cook twice a week and avoid 3 delivery orders, you can easily save over $100 a month. In a year, that's over $1,000 saved, just by swapping convenience for planning. Delivery isn't the enemy, but the frequency is. When you take control, you turn an expensive habit into a conscious choice. And that's exactly what separates those who spend without thinking from those who build a solid financial future. The fourth way to save money in 2025 is to bring your own food and drink when you leave home. It may seem like a detail, but that detail costs a lot. Think quickly. How much do you spend on ready-made coffees, convenient snacks, or water bottles when you're out? These expenses may seem small, but in the long run, they become a real financial drain. Here's the thing. It's not about never buying a coffee outside, but about avoiding it becoming a routine. A reusable water bottle and a snack prepared at home can easily save you $5 to $10 per outing. If you do this 3 times a week, in a year, the savings exceed $1,000. And there is still a powerful psychological factor. When they already have food or drink at hand, they reduce impulse purchases. Instead of stopping at a cafeteria because they are thirsty or hungry, they simply open their backpack and solve it. It's practical, it's quick, and their pocket thanks them. This also helps bring awareness to spending. Often, it's not the price of the item that weighs, but the frequency with which they repeat the purchase without realizing it. Replacing this habit with something planned is like closing another tap that was open on their bank account. When they discover that small gestures can lead to such significant savings, they start looking at daily consumption with different eyes. The fifth way to save money in 2025 is to renegotiate their fixed expenses. Most people think that monthly expenses are immutable, but they are not. Internet, phone, insurance, gym, and even credit card can be adjusted if they know how to ask. The common mistake is to accept the amount that comes on the invoice as final. Service companies know that competition is fierce. And often, just by calling and saying that they are thinking of canceling, space opens up for discounts, alternative plans, or extra benefits. This tactic works especially well in telephony and internet, where there are always promotions for new customers. Guess what? They can ask to receive the same conditions. Another point, car and health insurance. Reevaluating their coverage and comparing it with other options can generate significant savings without losing quality. Many people pay for coverages that don't make sense for their current reality simply because they have never reviewed the contract. Here's the practical hook. If they invest an hour a month to review and renegotiate their fixed expenses, they can save $50 to $200 without changing anything in their lifestyle. It's money that keeps coming out of their account until they decide to act. The feeling is almost like giving oneself a raise. No overtime, no new job, just with the courage to question values that they accepted out of habit. And when they realize this power, they understand that saving is not about cutting pleasure, it's about cutting waste. The sixth way to save money in 2025 is to master their supermarket shopping. This is one of the places where money slips away without them realizing it, because everything is planned to make them spend more. Shelf layout, eye-catching promotions, products next to the cash register, and packaging that seems irresistible. The first rule is simple. Never go to the supermarket without a list. When they enter without planning, they buy what they see, not what they need. A clear list cuts impulsive spending in half. The second rule is to not go when hungry. It may seem silly, but those who go hungry spend, on average, up to 20% more because each product seems like an urgent need. Another powerful strategy is to buy in larger quantities items that they really use and that don't spoil quickly. Paper towels, rice, pasta, canned goods. When they buy in bulk, they pay less per unit and avoid more expensive emergency purchases. And beware of fake discounts. Just because it says promotion doesn't mean it's cheaper. Compare the price per kilogram or liter, and you will be surprised how many times the smaller package is more expensive than the larger one. The supermarket doesn't have to be the villain of their budget. With planning and attention, it can become one of the greatest allies of their economy. And when they feel the control of this environment that used to drain their money, they realize that they can apply the same logic to any other area of consumption. The seventh way to save money in 2025 is to review what they spend on transportation. This is one of the most invisible costs because it seems necessary and inevitable, but in practice, there is a lot of room for intelligent cutting. If you use your car, the expenses are not just for gas. It includes insurance, maintenance, parking, tolls, and even vehicle depreciation. Often, these combined costs turn the car into a luxury disguised as a necessity. A powerful alternative is to reduce its use. Coordinate carpooling, use public transportation on specific days, or replace short distances with biking or walking. Now, if they rely on ride-hailing apps, do the math. Sometimes a monthly public transportation pass costs less than 2 or 3 rides per week. Another tactic is to assess if a car subscription or occasional rental is cheaper than keeping a vehicle parked most of the time. There is also a mindset shift that changes the game. Before getting in the car or calling an app, ask yourself, do I really need to go by car? Often the answer is no. This simple filter can mean saving dozens of dollars per week. Transportation is one of those expenses that doesn't seem flexible until you face the numbers head-on. When you do that, you discover that there are more options than you imagined, and that each adjustment can free up enough money to accelerate other financial goals. The eighth way to save money in 2025 is to reduce energy consumption at home. It may seem small, but each unnecessary light bulb turned on, each appliance in standby, and each longer shower than necessary are literally increasing your bill month after month. The first step is to replace regular light bulbs with LEDs. They consume up to 80% less energy and last much longer. The initial investment pays off in a few months, and then it's just savings. Another simple adjustment is to unplug appliances when they are not in use. Computers, TVs, video game consoles, and even chargers continue to drain energy even when turned off. This silent consumption, known as vampire energy, can account for up to 10% of your bill. When it comes to air conditioning and heating, which are the biggest culprits, the tip is to use them smartly. Adjusting the temperature just a few degrees already makes a huge difference at the end of the month. And if they use fans, thermal curtains, and suitable clothes, it further reduces the need to rely 100% on these devices. Now think about the impact. Saving $30 to $50 per month on energy means up to $600 per year extra just because you paid attention to details. That money could be going into your savings, for trips, or even to invest. Home is the place where they spend a good part of their time, and it is also the place where they have the most power of choice. Controlling their energy is like controlling the invisible flow of money that leaves without asking for permission. And since we are talking about cutting waste at home, the next step goes straight to another point of daily life that seems small, but when adjusted, completely changes the pace of your finances. How they deal with meals outside of home. Restaurants, bars, and cafes are great for socializing and relaxing, but they become a financial drain when they become a habit. The issue is not going out once in a while. The issue is turning it into a routine. A simple meal in a restaurant can cost 3 to 4 times more than preparing it at home. Now, multiply that by 2 or 3 times a week, and you understand why the bill doesn't add up at the end of the month. Eating out ceases to be an experience and becomes a waste. Here is a practical strategy. Establish a fixed number of times per month when they will eat out, and treat those occasions as something special, planned, and not automatic. When they set a limit, the impact on the wallet is immediate, and the experience becomes more valuable precisely because it does not happen all the time. Another tip is to replace restaurant meetings with creative alternatives. Invite friends to cook together at home, have a picnic in the park, or prepare a themed dinner spending less. Many times what they really seek is not expensive food, but rather a moment of connection. When they decide that eating out will be exceptions, not routine, they save hundreds of dollars over the year without feeling deprived. In fact, they gain because they start to savor each outing as something special, and not just another bill to pay. The 10th way to save money in 2025 is to avoid impulse purchases, especially on larger items. The real danger is not just in the daily coffee or extra delivery, but in those purchases they convince themselves they deserve or that will simplify their lives, and suddenly become installments that suffocate their budget. The key here is simple. Create the 30-day rule. Whenever they feel like buying something that was not in their plan, write down the item, wait 30 days, and only then decide if they really need it. 9 out of 10 times, the urge passes and they realize they didn't need to spend that money. This technique is powerful because it slows down the emotional trigger. Marketing is designed to make them believe they need to buy now, before the offer ends. But the truth is that promotions always come back, and the urgency is rarely real. When they give their brain time, they exchange impulse for clarity. What's more, if after 30 days they decide to buy, they will probably find the product cheaper or even realize that there is a used or alternative version that serves just as well. That alone represents savings. Impulse purchases are not only a risk to the pocket, they are also a sign of lack of strategy. When they take control, they realize that each conscious choice is a way to get closer to their financial goals. The 11th way to save money in 2025 is to rethink how they spend on leisure and entertainment. Many people believe that saving means cutting out fun, but that's not true. The secret is to replace expensive experiences with alternatives that deliver the same emotional value at a much lower cost. For example, going to the movies can easily cost $50 between tickets, popcorn, and drinks. But a movie night at home, with streaming you already pay for and popcorn made in the kitchen, can cost less than $10. Concerts, nightclubs, and restaurants follow the same logic. There are affordable and creative versions that still deliver the pleasure of the experience without draining the wallet. Another strategy is to look for free or low-cost activities in their city. Parks, museums on free entry days, trails, community events. These programs not only ease their account but also create different and often richer memories than purchased experiences. Leisure should be planned in the same way as any other area of their budget. When they set a fixed amount for fun, they avoid the snowball effect of just one more night out. This way, they enjoy without guilt and without a surprise on the bill. Saving is not living in boredom. It's choosing experiences that bring joy without compromising their financial future. And when they realize they can have fun spending less, they discover an even greater power. That of enjoying life with freedom. The 12th way to save money in 2025 is to use technology to their advantage. While on one hand, apps and digital services can create unnecessary expenses, on the other hand, they can be powerful tools for cutting costs. Start with price comparison websites. Before making any purchases, use sites and apps that show where things are cheaper. This simple check can save them tens of dollars on a single purchase. Another indispensable resource is coupons and cashback. It may seem like child's play, but those who use them frequently accumulate savings which, by the end of the year, become significant amounts. There are also apps that help automatically split bills, track expenses in real time, and even negotiate debts and bank fees. Such tools take the burden off of managing everything alone and make their financial routine much lighter. And here's the key point. Technology is an ally as long as they use it consciously. If an app is not saving their money, but rather creating more temptation to spend, it has ceased to be a tool and has become a trap. When they make technology their strategic partner, they discover that they can cut invisible costs and turn every click into an opportunity to save. The 13th way to save money in 2025 is to optimize their housing costs. This is, for most people, the biggest budget expense, and precisely for this reason, any adjustment here has a huge impact. If they rent, the first step is to renegotiate. Many landlords prefer to keep a stable tenant rather than risk having the property vacant. Showing that they are reliable, always pay on time, and are willing to renew can open up space for discounts or better conditions. Another alternative is to share space. Having a roommate can cut not only the rent in half but also electricity, internet, and other fixed costs. If they have financing, consider refinancing their mortgage for lower interest rates. Even a small rate difference can mean thousands of dollars saved over the years. And if they own a home, think about monetizing the space. Renting out a room on Airbnb or turning the garage into a rented parking space can generate extra income to cover part of the expenses. Moreover, living in a more affordable area, even if it means giving up some conveniences, can free up a significant amount to invest in other areas of their life. The truth is that housing doesn't have to be a heavy anchor. With smart adjustments, it can become a solid foundation for their financial freedom. The 14th way to save money in 2025 is to cut unnecessary bank fees and interest charges. Many people lose money not because they spend too much, but because they pay invisible fees that could be avoided. Banks and credit card companies love inattentive customers. The first step is to review their checking account. If they are paying a monthly fee just to keep the account open, they are already wasting money for no reason. Today there are digital banks and credit unions that offer free or much cheaper services. Switching can mean saving hundreds of dollars a year without any negative impact on their routine. Another point is the credit card. High annual fees, abusive interest rates, and hidden fees drain their pocket mercilessly. Here the strategy is to negotiate. Call and request exemption from the annual fee or switch to a no-cost card, but still offering benefits like cashback or miles. And, of course, never pay the minimum on the bill. The interest rates are so high that each dollar not paid can turn into a snowball in a few months. Even small fees, such as withdrawals from ATMs outside the network, can be avoided with planning. These fees may seem insignificant, but when accumulated over the year, they add up to amounts that could be strengthening their reserve. Cutting bank fees is not just about saving, it's about regaining control. It's about no longer handing over money to financial institutions that already profit too much from inattentive clients. The 15th way to save money in 2025 is to tackle their debts intelligently. Debt is not just an emotional burden, it's a silent thief that steals your financial future through interest. Every month you delay payment, you are handing more money to the bank and getting further away from your goals. The first step is to list all your debts with amounts, deadlines, and interest rates. Whether it's a credit card, personal loan, or financing, put everything on the table. Only then you see the real size of the problem. Then choose a strategy of attack. If your goal is to save as much money as possible, start by paying off the debt with the highest interest, usually the credit card. This tactic is known as avalanche. But if you need quick motivation, start with the smallest debts and eliminate them one by one. This is the snowball strategy. Seeing victories happening creates energy to continue. It's also worth negotiating. Many creditors prefer to receive less now than risk not receiving anything later. A call can result in discounts, interest rate reductions, or better installment conditions. The logic is simple. Each debt eliminated is not just one less bill, it's an increase in your net income. It's money that used to go to the bank and now stays in your pocket. And here comes the most important point. It's no use paying off debts if you keep creating new ones. The real power lies in breaking the cycle. When you learn to deal with credit consciously, not only do you save money, but you also begin to truly build wealth. The 16th way to save money in 2025 is to buy secondhand whenever possible. The always new culture costs a lot, and most of the time it doesn't make a real difference in their life. Clothes, furniture, electronics, and even cars can be found in excellent condition for a fraction of the original price. Brand-name clothes that cost $100 in the store are often in thrift stores or online platforms for $20, still in perfect condition. The same goes for furniture. Families move houses or redecorate and sell quality pieces for almost nothing. Even electronics, when bought refurbished from reliable stores, work as new and come with a warranty. And the most important point: when buying secondhand, they save twice. First, on the direct price, and then because they do not fall into the cycle of financing or installment payments. The pocket thanks them, and the feeling of financial intelligence is immediate. There is also a powerful psychological benefit. When they choose to pay less for something of quality, they understand that the value is not in the label but in the use they make of it. This changes their relationship with consumption. Buying secondhand is not a downgrade of standards. It is a strategic choice that frees up money for what truly matters: investing, traveling, building experiences. The 17th way to save money in 2025 is to use rewards programs and cashback strategically. Many people have credit cards or apps that offer points, miles, and cashback, but they do not take advantage of it. It's like leaving free money on the table. The logic is simple. If they are already going to spend on essential purchases like groceries, gasoline, or bills, why not turn these expenses into returns? A good cashback program can give back 1% to 5% of each purchase. It may seem little, but accumulated over the year, it can represent hundreds of dollars that come back directly to you. The secret is in choosing well. It's no use having 10 cards or several apps that only confuse. Choose one or two that truly offer useful benefits for their life. If they travel, prioritize miles. If they prefer money in their pocket, focus on cashback. But here's the golden rule: never spend just to accumulate points. That's the trap loyalty programs create. Use rewards as a bonus for what they would already need to spend, never as an excuse to spend more. When they put rewards programs at the service of their strategy, they stop being a marketing trick and become allies in their economy. It's turning basic consumption into extra benefits, without additional effort. And if this tactic multiplies their purchasing power, wait until they see how the next step can unlock even more money, simply by changing how they organize their financial goals. The 18th way to save money in 2025 is to set clear financial goals. Without a goal, money simply slips through their fingers because there's no defined destination. It's like driving without a map. They spend fuel but don't get anywhere. When they place an objective ahead, like paying off a debt by June, saving $2,000 for a trip, or setting aside 10% of income every month to invest, money starts to have a purpose. This purpose is what cuts unnecessary expenses because every dollar is evaluated with a simple question: does this bring me closer to or farther from my goal? And here's the psychological point that changes everything. Visible goals create automatic discipline. Put up a board on the wall, use an app, or even a physical jar to track their progress. Each visible advancement generates motivation. It's like a game where they see the progress bar going up and don't want to stop until they complete it. The difference between those who save and those who cannot is clarity. They who have a goal see the finish line. They who do not have one get lost along the way. Setting goals not only organizes their financial life but also turns savings into achievement, and achievement into a habit. The 19th way to save money in 2025 is to automate their savings. The biggest enemy of personal finances is not the lack of money, but the lack of consistency. When they rely solely on willpower, there always seems to be an excuse to spend first and save later. Automation eliminates this problem. Set up automatic transfers to their savings account or investments right after they receive their paycheck. This way, they ensure that the money is saved before they have the chance to spend it. It is the principle of pay yourself first. If they wait to save only what is left, there will almost never be anything left. This strategy works because it turns saving into an invisible habit. They do not need to think, do not need to decide, it just happens. In a few months, they look at the balance and realize that they are building a financial cushion almost effortlessly. And here is a powerful detail. Even small automated amounts make a difference. $20 or $30 per week turn into over $1,000 over the year. It is proof that consistency beats intensity. Automating their savings is like hiring a disciplined version of themselves to work 24 hours. They do not tire, do not forget, and never make excuses. The 20th way to save money in 2025 is to use the envelope system, or its digital version. This classic technique remains relevant because it solves one of the biggest financial problems: spending without realizing it. When they set clear limits for each expense category, it becomes impossible to exceed them without feeling the impact. The traditional version is simple. You separate physical money into labeled envelopes: food, transportation, leisure, bills. When the money from the envelope is gone, the spending in that category is over. This creates immediate awareness. Today, the digital version works the same way with apps that allow you to create virtual envelopes. You set monthly amounts for each category and track in real time if you're staying within the limit. This visibility completely changes the relationship with money, because each purchase is no longer isolated but now has context. The power of this technique lies in turning the budget into something tangible. Instead of cold numbers in a spreadsheet, you feel reality. If the leisure envelope is empty, it's not time to go out for dinner, it's time to replan. This clarity prevents excess and ensures that your financial goals stay on track. Saving money is not just about keeping money, it's about creating systems that protect you from yourself. The envelope method is exactly that: a shield against lack of control. Now you have at hand 20 practical, simple, and powerful ways to save money even in 2025. What sets apart those who truly transform their financial lives from those who remain in the same cycle is action. It's no use to just watch, agree, and go on with life as before. What will change your bank balance is choosing one of these strategies today and putting it into practice. The truth is that saving is not about living with less. It's about living with more awareness. More freedom, more clarity, more choices. Every cut and waste is an open space to build something that truly matters to you. Security, travels, experiences, or even the peace of mind of not worrying about the next bill. And it's not about perfection. They don't need to apply all 20 at once. If they start with 3 or 4, they'll already feel the impact. The important thing is to create consistency. Because when small changes are repeated every day, they accumulate into results that seem almost magical by the end of the year. So, choose their starting point, take the test, and see how their relationship with money changes when they decide to take control. 2025 can still be the year they look at their account and finally feel proud of what they've built. Money made easy helps them save with lightness, peace of mind, and time for life.